Hello, YouTube. Now, I got a question. Why does everyone like this movie? Really? Why does everyone like this? I don't get it. Why the hell does everyone like this movie? Really? Why? What was so good about it? There was nothing original? Nothing good? Why does everyone like it? Well, the only reason I can gather is because people like the Hunger Games, which I still don't get. And this movie is basically ripping off the Hunger Games, which I haven't even seen. But just from the trailers, I know this movie is ripping off the Hunger Games. And God, where do I even start on this movie? I guess I'll start with the story. So, yeah, here's the story. Okay, so the story here is very hard to sum up. Like, there's just so much going on, it's gonna be hard to sum up. But I'm gonna give it my best shot. So the story centers around this main character named Beatrice, who really renamed herself Tris, because I guess she always wanted that name. And she tells us about these 5 functions in which you go into when you become an adult in this world that's just futuristic enough for all this stuff to happen. And apparently you take a test where you find out which function you are, which is really pointless because then you just choose your own function. I guess it's supposed to put more pressure on you to choose the function that they say that you are, but I don't know. I really don't get why they do it. So she gets Divergent, which I don't really know what it means. I think it means that she goes to every function, but she doesn't really display any of the factors of any of the functions aside from the boring function which she came from, so I don't see how she's Divergent. And so what she does is she goes into this area where you choose which one you want to be in, and apparently you cut your hand for some reason and drop a bit of blood in there. I don't know why they don't just let you like write your name on the piece of paper and then drop that in, but I don't know, maybe they just thought that blood looked cooler. And apparently they have a guy to clean off the knife that you use and also change out the water every single time someone chooses it. And there are like hundreds of people in this room choosing, so this ceremony would take hours. And if you want to see more detail on that, go watch Simpsons. But basically, she chooses Dauntless, which is not the function that she came from, and her brother leaves her parents too, so her parents are now gone. Because for some odd reason you can't visit your parents. I really don't get this. For some odd reason, this really annoyed me during the whole entire movie. Because why can't you go and visit your parents? What is the purpose of that? What are they going to do? Say, oh yeah, you chose a function? What are they going to do? What, will they say, oh yeah, here's what you're supposed to do in your life? What? What would they do? And don't just think it works on this character. No, it works on every single character in this movie. Why? I don't know. They say it's to keep order or something, but how are they keeping order? By not letting them see their parents, yet letting them visit their families if they went to different functions that aren't in their parents' function? What? Why does that make any sense? Okay, well, I guess I digress from that. And what they do is, the one that she goes into is Dauntless, and in there they're basically like the firefighters and police and the FBI all rolled into one. Also with people from like those big clubs that you see in movies, like how they're all crazy and do weird things for no reason. Yeah, basically those people have now become in charge of your safety. Because that's what we always wanted to see. But, and then they had to jump off of a building they had to jump off this moving train onto a building for some reason, and then they had to jump into this hole, which apparently is their initiation ceremony, but then there are like 10 months of work that you have to see them do after that, so again, pointless. And then they actually show you basically every single solitary moment of these 10 months. Even showing them talking in a lunchroom. Why do we need to see them talking in a lunchroom? I don't know, but I guess it's explained better in the book, which I haven't cared to read, but judging by this movie, I won't. And then apparently Beatrice is starting to be really good at the Dauntless. Cool, I guess. But then when the mental challenge comes up, this guy named Four, who apparently has been following her around creepishly and giving her a lot of tips that she doesn't really use, is in charge of her mental test, which apparently she needs, in which she's gotta find a way out of the simulation, but in the way that Dauntless would do it. But instead, she does it the sensible way, by noticing that it's not real, because it's not. But for some odd reason, that's the wrong way of doing it. And that apparently makes her Divergent, in which apparently the guy named Four is also. And then she actually does become a Dauntless, only to get kicked out of Dauntless immediately after. Basically making the first half of this movie, basically making the first hour and a half of this movie completely pointless. Oh, aren't you glad you stayed in there to watch that first hour and a half? Only for like a half an hour of something else going on that actually contributes to the story? I wasn't. And then they were very hard to follow, or at least for me to sum up storyline, which it's only hard for me to follow because I had to sum it all up. And summing it up without spoiling anything is very hard to do. There's basically this mind control thing going on, which I don't really get. And now they had to stop this villain who did the mind control thing. And that's honestly my best way of summing this up. There's so much more going on in this movie, but it's very hard to sum up, and this already took 7 minutes to sum up the story. So, yeah. It's long. And has one of the biggest plot holes I have ever seen, aside from The Matrix. Basically, the villain is doing this whole entire mind control thing to stop the Divergents, which I don't really get because the Divergents are apparently immune to it. Unless they have like 4 treatments in 4. Kind of funny. But apparently she wants to stop the Divergents. But here's the thing. If she didn't care about stopping the Divergents, none of this would happen. They wouldn't realize that they had to be rebellious. So none of this stuff would be going on. Like, since we need a movie, they do that. And it is just a dumb movie. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that like it. And good for you guys. I mean, you guys can see something that I don't. That's really cool. But, I really don't see it. The character, it's mainly character focused, Like, it'll mainly focus on what these characters are going through and how they react in the situation. But we don't know anything about them. We don't know their personality. There's even a moment where they ask, okay, well, don't worry, your personality is good. I'm like, what is her personality? And that's really annoying and very distracting in this movie. Like, Simpson said the exact same thing that I did, asking what is her personality, and I completely agree with him on that. What is her personality? Why are we focusing on her? The character 4 would have been more interesting to focus on, but nope, we're focusing on her. Tris, the completely boring and no way interesting one. I guess that movies just like to do that now, but yeah, it's just the story is all over the place. It shows you stuff that you don't need to see. And it could basically have started you off showing the opening and then saying, oh hey, here's the choosing ceremony. That would at least get 20 minutes out of the way. But instead, no, we had to see how they don't like vanity. I think. But instead, oh mirrors. Yeah, that contributes a lot. And, guys, it's just a story that is all over the place, focuses on far too many things that don't need to be focused on, and it's character driven, but the characters are not interesting in the least. So, for the story, gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It just did not contribute anything, and it feels like the first hour and a half is a complete waste of time. So now, on to the characters. Which again, they are annoying and pointless. Okay, and guys, just so you know, when I say pointless, I mean, some of them are just there just so then they can get killed. Really, there are like 5 of them that are just there and then get killed, making them really pointless. They hardly even do anything. That's what really makes them pointless. But for those characters, let's start off with the main one that's completely boring, Tris, who I have no idea how she is a Divergent. I mean, they say that Divergents are like these people who are really rebellious and have every single function wrapped into them, basically making them, for lack of a better word, human. But here's the thing. There's nothing interesting about her. Yeah, Tris has nothing interesting. She actually fits in more with the gray, boring world which he says that she doesn't fit in with. How does she not fit in with this? Because from what I can see, she fit in perfectly. She was boring, she was bland, and she had nothing interesting. So yeah, she fits in perfect. But nope, they want to make her the star. Because, really, I don't know. Okay, and then after her, there is 4, who I don't see any personality in him either. I mean, he's got a little bit more personality, seeing how he actually doesn't like to kill people, and yet he does have to kill people sometimes, and yet when he does that, he doesn't want to look. That's pretty nice scene. That scene is actually a pretty decent scene, and one of the few that's good in this movie. But, God, he has no personality. No emotion, no personality, nothing. I mean, I don't know anything about his personality. And, again, in the movie, he actually tells Tris, okay, don't worry, but you have a good personality, or he says something like that. I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's okay, I'm the only one who knows your character. I'm like, what is your character exactly? What is it again? Can you please remind me? And that's the same thing that can go for him, because they're both lacking in character. I think that Divergent just means no interesting character in this world, and that's why they want to get rid of them. So then they can have all the interesting characters, which we don't focus on, making them really, really pointless. Like the villain, who, let's just face it, is just called the villain because who's going to remember her name? And guys, if you do know her name, you can put it down in the comments, I don't mind. But, oh my god, this villain, again, I had to point out this plot hole. If she didn't do all this, then the Divergent would have no reason to rebel. Yeah, I still don't see why she didn't do that. And then, she's actually kind of interesting. Because she is trying to do all this for the place, for her home, the place that she lives, the place that she's always been, and she's trying to protect it, but is mixed up a bit on what protecting it is. So it's actually kind of fun to watch. So she's actually kind of an interesting character to see, because she's like Claude Frodo. She wants to do what's right, but she just doesn't know what's right and how to do it. So the way that she does it is completely misguided, but she still thinks that she's doing it for the right reason. And that's something that can make her kind of interesting, but unfortunately she's only really in there and in that personality at the end of the film. Again, in like a half an hour. So throughout the rest of the movie, she's actually kind of charming and kind of a nice person. So it makes you wonder, how the heck is she a villain? I don't know. They just sort of say that she is. Okay, well then after her is Christina, who is Triss's friend, who she meets at Dauntless. And again, personality, what's that? Because she has none of it. She has no personality, no character, nothing. All I know about her is that, ooh, she's a little bit rambunctious. Ooh. That's really it. Nothing else, nothing more contributing. Because she has no more personality aside from that. Aside from being just a little bit interesting, and also getting controlled, and also getting mind controlled in the end, there is nothing interesting about her, and nothing else that she contributes. Heck, she doesn't even contribute anything in the end, aside from getting Triss a tattoo. That's it. That is really it. She gives Triss a tattoo. How exciting! Aren't you so glad that you saw that? Again, another one of those pointless things. And then there's Eric. Or at least I think that this is this character. He's the only one I really liked. He's basically one of the people who are being blue, which I don't know the name of the function, but they're basically the intelligent function. And this guy actually has all the right points. Like, okay, yeah, how is she being so good at this? That's something that a lot of people should be asking. How is she so good at this mind thing? Good question. And also, he's actually sorry that I think that he was under mind control and was trying to kill her. And he actually goes up to her and apologizes about that. And then she doesn't forgive him. Sure. But then guess what he does? They kill off the only likable character, Eric. Yeah, he dies. Nothing good about him. No, they had to kill him off. Why? I don't know. He could have contributed something in the story, but no. They just want him to be completely pointless. Making another wasted character. And you know what? No, this guy could have been really cool. He was cool. Actually, I really thought that he was interesting. But, no. They just kill him off. Like at the hour mark in the movie, they kill him off. So there's another hour without him. And that, to me, was just the biggest waste of a character. Because he was actually likable. And then they say, nope, you don't feel anything for this character. He's not the star who does nothing interesting aside from shoot a few things. And he's not as bland as her. And speaking of the main character, now it's time to talk about her brother, who, again, is another character that I actually liked more than the main character. I mean, this character did seem a little bit stressed out, in which, like I said in my Steven Universe vlog, that's kind of how my personality is. And he actually did seem stressed out, which would make sense. He's going into a test that was a sideline for his life, for the rest of his life, so it makes sense why he would be stressed out. And then, he's not seen for the rest of the movie, aside from just like a little cameo in there, which only lasts for like a minute. And then until the very end, when he realizes, I was stupid! Well, no, duh, he was stupid! He was trusting the villain! He was so obviously the villain! And I just wish that he was the star. I mean, I wish that he was more the main character. He seemed more divergent than Tris did. And you know what? He would have been a little more interesting. Being inside of the villain's function would have been a very interesting storyline. Because then we could actually see what was going on with these characters and see what they were doing. But nope. He's just there for a bit and then just leaves until the very end. And that's, again, wasted character. And then it's Beatrice's family. Or at least her parents. And I classify them in the same category because, like in Earth Echo, the parents are both the same. Except for one little difference with the mom, in which she was dauntless at one point and went to a different function. Ooh, exactly what Beatrice did. And, she's a cooler character, but she dies off. So, again, pointless. And the dad, he's always a little bit more contributing to the story, seeing how this is actually another one of the reasons why the villain is doing all this. But, again, he doesn't really do anything aside from that. And that's a real shame for this character, because he was sort of entertaining. But after that, he does nothing. And there is this one other character who's in charge of the Dauntless, I think. Like in charge of the test taking at Dauntless, but I forgot his name. And so I'm just gonna call him the Dauntless leader. He doesn't really do anything, and he was so obviously a bad guy. Like, while I was watching this movie with my mom, I was saying, oh yeah, I wonder who a bad guy is in this Dauntless area. Because it's so obviously not him. And he just hammers in too much that he hates this main character, so obviously he's the bad guy. And it just gets so annoying how much they hammer it in. And that's pretty much all the characters that are worth remembering. I mean, I know there's like this tattoo lady, but she doesn't really do anything aside from saying, oh hey, you're Dauntless. I mean, aside from saying, oh hey, you're Divergent. Do something with that. That's really all that she does. And there are other characters, but again, they don't really do much. So, for the characters, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, 5.5 out of 10. Because some of the characters are interesting, but of course they're either not focused on or they're killed off. And for all the boring ones, they focus on them far too much. So, for this movie, what do I have to say about the movie itself? It's bland and I don't see why anyone likes it. I mean, I can sort of see the liking in it because, I mean, it does have some stuff that's kind of cool. Like, the future that they made is kind of an interesting one, and, yeah, the 5 different functions would have actually been an interesting idea if they followed through with it. But, seeing as I didn't like this one, I'm probably not gonna watch the sequel, and that's pretty much it. All the characters are focused on are just so boring, and the ones that are interesting aren't focused on enough. And the story is all over the place, very hard to sum up, and has one of the biggest plot holes aside from The Matrix. So, for this movie, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Now, for all you saying, oh, how dare you, that's not saying I don't see why you guys don't like it. Again, it does have some kind of cool scenes, but it's just not for me, and I just don't get the likability. But hey, if you guys want to enjoy it, then go ahead and enjoy it. But for me, I personally rather go and watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because at least that trilogy will be more interesting than this one that's apparently going to be a trilogy. So, yeah. And next week, seeing as Independence Day is on Saturday, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Independence Day. I'm actually going to watch it for the very first time 2 days ahead of it, 2 days before I actually review it, so just a heads up, don't think that my review of Independence Day that I'm going to do isn't that good. That's probably because I had very little time to work on it. Also, if you guys were wondering what I put this coin into, it's this. Wait a minute. It's a cuss jar thing. Like, basically, whenever I cuss on the show, or on my channel, I'm going to be putting in 1 coin. Since I cussed twice during my Legend of the Titanic reaction, and also cussed once in my Young Frankenstein review, I have 3 coins in there and cussed once in this review, so yeah, 4 coins now in here. Just want to point that out, just in case if you guys were wondering what this was. So, yeah.